Good day, everybody. This is Phyllis Serene Raleigh, and I wanted to just do a commentary today on the new Sasha Stone documentary about 5G. It's called The Extinction Event, and good name. You can see my comments, but I'm going to just read with you what I shared with them. And it is quite extensive. It's an hour and 17 minutes, and he's covered most of the subjects I'm aware of. He's left out a few of them, which I think it's important for us to know. And there's no doubt that it is weaponized attack against the whole planet. But if you know anything about the Georgia Stones in the U.S., there is a planned goal to bring the planet down to 500,000 people, 500,000. And I think that is the right populace for the planet. And it is not all premeditative murder. It is a lot of weather that, we can blame HAARP for some of it, but there is some good that comes out of those systems trying to stabilize the weather as long as possible. The inevitable is that we have a catastrophic climactic change coming, period. No ifs and buts about it. Nobody to blame for it. It's just coming. So, in the meantime, there is a whole lot of other things going on. War, famine, which has always really been with us, and the destruction of the planet, either environmentally or emotionally, where humans don't talk to each other, and humans, and particularly males and females, are more separated than united. So this disintegration of our culture, our civilizations, our people, our bodies, our minds, through all the other elements, and we have the extinction event coming. And one of the things that's been interesting to me is listening to guys like Cobra, who claims to be a Pleiadian but is actually a reptilian spy. But he has been preparing people for this economic event. And many others have picked up on that theme, that there is a big event coming that's going to shift the planet. Well, I looked at the weather and the astronomers and what they had to say. And yes, there is a big event coming that's going to affect all of us. And guess what? The sun is going to stop too, and the waters will rise, but fire will come, volcanoes will erupt, tsunamis will hit. But guess what? That's already happening. So as historians, when you look back at this time period, it's easier to collapse it all together as a really scary movie. But we're living in it. We're in it. And if it's not hitting our home right now, it's just a story. So my thoughts are, and particularly about looking at these kind of films that show us exactly what is happening to all of us. It will affect us, and we can't ignore it. And as I wrote to them, I said, I'm pleased to hear you've got the facts out, and I hope you will go further and talk about the mitigation options that are working. Bubble genies, tensor rings, orgonite, shungite, and more need to be researched, understood, and incorporated. And please, now is the time to start talking about the symptoms that people are addressing, so we don't think it's just us. The biggest problem I see is that we are taking all of our physical symptoms and internalizing them as something we did versus something that was done to us. And because they're so scattered, and depending on what your other health background, and you don't look to, am I being poisoned on a global scale? Yes, but we don't have a way to point to one thing or another. And it is through constant investigation to look at sources. And we have to eliminate so many things in our lives to narrow down those choices. It's just quite complicated. However, from my perspective, the focus is where we are evolving to next. Our 3D bodies are not designed to survive this attack for much longer. And I noticed that they did not cover how quickly the reactions are happening. And in my little small community in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, we are seeing cancer in children doubling. We're seeing 22-year-olds that have 4 different types of cancer, and they can look right out their window and see the cell phone tower they're living under and the cause of that. So our community has activated in all levels of legal, political, and sourcing mitigation technologies to combat and protect ourselves from 5G. Yet the attorneys and political systems are already 2 steps ahead of us as we quickly try to react to what is happening. And they have laws already in this country, and I know in the US, have already been changed before the public became really aware and could react, deeming that 5G is a low-level risk and that none of the FDA or FCC approvals in this country or the US can be stopped because of health reasons. So many of us are already sick with lots of rotaviruses, septicemia, regular 4 a.m. muscle spasms, tinnitus, and Alzheimer's symptoms. The Extinction Event, which you aptly defined, is one of just many. This is the perfect storm. Even the Schumann resonance has gone from its original 7.5 to now spiking at 150 earlier this month. Strangely, it now seems to be on a monthly time schedule of a 24-hour cycle at this 150, both in February and March on the 16th of the month. So for more catastrophic space weather, this is not fixable on a 3D level. So it seems time to focus on leveling up our game. Ascension or bust, as the kids always say. The good news is that we have access to the 5th dimension of consciousness, and we better start using it. So we can sail through this last lap on the 3D matrix. Time, remember, is the 4th dimension, and yeah, we gotta let go of that too. This last push is a big one, using fear, sickness, war, and death. But remember, this is a holographic, time-based universe. There are others that are not time-based, infinity-based. It has to end so that the next level can begin. And in our planet, we have seen evolution not move steadily along, but take leaps like stair steps. And it happens that way in big growth spurts, and it's time for the next one. As I was reminded, remember, we are still using the same fuel that we used 100 years ago to move across the planet in cars and in airplanes. We have not really progressed. Even our cell phones have not really gone from major changes. It's still boxes that we use to talk to each other. So I need to remind us, we are the ancestors of survivors. And we have the evidence of those cultures, many of the cultures, over thousands of caves where communities lived. Now, we all who are still here question, how long could they survive without sun? Did they find the hollow inner earth? Or did they just die and go nuts? National Geographic seems to want to share that story. We don't get the stories of people doing well, but forgetting and losing track of time. They're able to survive, they sleep more, but they seem to go a little crazy. So it's one of those that we're going to have to watch for ourselves and maybe have to be the judge of that. Now, I don't have one of those golden passes to get underground anywhere on the planet yet, but I'm looking for those holes where we can slip in and I'll bring cookies and say hello. But for many of us, we have to choose, since we are on the ground floor and we're the lucky sons of guns who get to watch it all while it hits the fan in our lifetimes. But the really good news is that no matter how much of the bad that we see, that polarity swing is showing up, remember there is much good equally available at the same time. So because it's a program, and because we're all affected consciously by this program, we've got to be able to steer our focus in the direction of our will. Now, our ego has been beaten up and tamed, hopefully, so that we can use it to drive our desires. But we've got to be in control of our thoughts, our emotions, and our willpower. And if you've had a life of pretty much undisciplined in those areas, I got bad news for you. It's going to be getting harder for you. Because if you're not focused, you'll be subjected to what's coming. And it's an internal ability to address and deal. And here's how I found how it's worked best. By getting to what we call 0 point, or neutral emotional polarity. What is that? That's when stuff doesn't bother you. That's when people try to piss you off and it kind of just rolls over your shoulder. You can see it. I looked inside myself, and when I was happening to me and I was going, I should be pissed right now, but I have no emotion for pissness, whatever that is called properly. So I have accepted that I can look at things from another perspective within myself, not the body reaction. And it just feels like I'm unplugging from the body. And my consciousness is able to look at situations from a different perspective. So I encourage you, find that space of 0 point, whether it's meditation that got you there, marijuana, ayahuasca, whatever it is. But at this stage of the game, it's going to get rocky. Outside and emotionally, it'll try to pull you into it. And it's just lucky us, it's that time. But as you focus, then the miracles and the magic happens. And as you move up the next level of the game, we have more abilities. So don't doubt yourself in that. Let the magic come to you. Don't really have to do much else, but stay focused, exercise, eat right, sleep right, be good to your body, be good to your mind, connect spiritually. Just be open for it. Stay in a space of supra-consciousness, always being aware, always connected. And let's see what tomorrow brings. Namaste, y'all.